Hey, well, these are a few of the pocket knives that I have been carrying around lately. Um, One thing about it is that when it comes to pocket knives, I really like smaller, lighter knives. And by smaller and lighter, basically, I'm talking about knives with blades between 3.25 inches and 2.5 inches, and overall lengths between say 5.9 inches and 7.7 inches. And which means that I like smaller knives, but I don't necessarily like a tiny knife. Um, and that makes it really interesting because one of my new ones that I've recently taken a liking to is a knife that I first saw on video a while back, and that was the Protech Whiskers Island. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you already know, the Whiskers Island is a bolster release auto. And it's really kind of interesting because if you look at it, for instance, if you look at the back right here, the back of the blade, there's kind of a notch on the back of the blade, like a lockback. And, you know, well, I guess I don't have enough good light in here, but if you kind of look in there, and if you look at the back side, let me see if I can keep it like this. Basically, when this knife opens up, it locks up like a lockback. And so it's different from your standard autos, which your standard side opening autos, which have a button and a plunge lock. But I really enjoy it because I think it's kind of a discreet looking auto. I mean, most autos, with the button and everything, it's very obvious what they are. With the Whiskers Island, it's not quite so obvious. Now the other thing about it is that I really think this is a really perfect size knife. The blade is 3.125 inches, and 3.125 inches, if you put it on a ruler, basically looks like 3 inches. And the handle is about 4 inches, and so this is a really good size knife to use for everyday carry for somebody like me who uh, I have a professional job and I don't need a big meat cleaver, and so a knife like that is really nice. Now, as for the other knives I'm carrying today, have been carrying around lately, at the bottom you see the orange handle knife. That's a Spidey DK. That's a slip joint Spyderco. Now it's designed to be not to be a one-hander, but actually I don't have a hard time opening it as a one-hander. I just kind of take my thumb and kind of poke it into that hole, and it pops open pretty easily for me. This is a Italian-made Spyderco. It has an M690 blade, and it was basically designed to be legal in the state of Denmark. Now, another Spyderco that I haven't been carrying too much lately, but I really have got to carry it more often, is the Warncliffe Delica. Uh, just a very, very comfortable knife, and also the Warncliffe blade, as we all know, is just a really good utility blade. It's really good. Now, a knife of mine that recently was discontinued by a major manufacturer was this ZT 0900, George Lowell design. And it's interesting because I was looking at the Protech Rockeye, which is also a George Lowell design that I may get pretty soon. It's funny how much it looks exactly like this, except for it's just longer. Um, but the thing about this knife is, it's always been kind of an odd knife because the overall length is under 7 inches. The blade is 2.75 inches, and so in terms of its size, it has the size of a Gents knife, but it's a much thicker knife and it's over 4 ounces, so it's a little bit on the heavy side for a Gents knife. That said, I still think it's a pretty easy knife to carry, and although for me, it's not a four. It's not a four. It's kind of small because I really can't get my pinky finger on it. But I find it a pretty comfortable knife to carry. And the other thing I've recently found out, because I mainly used it for uh, opening packages or that sort of thing. I took the word of another reviewer who said it was actually a good slicer, and I took and so I actually investigated for myself, and I found out that it actually does work well slicing in my case, sausage that I was using to help make an omelet. And so, despite a rather thick blade profile, it's much more of a utilitarian knife than I realized. Uh, the thing I would say is that, I know ZT knows what they're doing when they discontinued it, but I just say for anybody, if you can get your hands on a ZT, if you can get your hands on this one right here, zero tolerance 0900. If you can get one, by all means, get one. I think it's a wonderful knife. And so, basically, all of them, from my newest, the Whiskers Allen, to the oldest, to the one I've had the longest in this bunch, which is the ZT 0900. Plus, of course, my Spydercos. And, when it comes to making a light, practical EDC, I don't think Spyderco can really be beat, especially in terms of making knives that are comfortable for the hand. I think the only other company that comes close to them is Strider in terms of designing knives that really fit well in the hand. But without going too far off track, I'm just like to say that I think all of these really make good pocket knives. Good practical pocket knives. I mean, now the Whiskers, of course, since it's an auto, there are a significant number of places, about 10 states and a number of municipalities in America where you can't carry one. But fortunately, the tide is turning on autos, and there are more and more places where you can actually carry them now. And so I think all of them make really great everyday carry knives, and in particular, they all make great gents knives. Well, anyway, this is Below Average Joe. I haven't put up a knife video in a while, and I just wanted to share this. Take care.